Look, I will never ever kink shame anybody,
No.
but couldn't be me. She should have just ran, darn it.
But that's what he's thinking.
I know,
Freaking.
but instead of damn it, you said darn it. I just don't know why it was so funny. Listen, as Taylor Swift once said, all of my enemies started out friends.
I wouldn't be surprised if the twist turned out to be him wanting Eric.
Put
Yeah.
your dick in my mouth. Almost knocked over my coffee. Where are we? Oh, I think they're connected to my phone. No. I'm falling apart. Don't worry about it. We're good. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Headphones, done. It's like one of this one? I think so. Speak. No. Maybe that one? I can't hear you at all.
Stop.
That's weird. Oh.
No, that's the wrong one.
Try it now.
No, Martha's too full for this shit.
Oh, I can hear you. Okay, we're good. Sorry. I also think it's funny that I ordered you to speak like you're a dog.
That's why I barked.
And I couldn't even hear it. I'm so sad. I'm just gonna ask, I don't know if it's just me or if it bothered you with the book, the tense switch. Okay. Okay.
But we should
Alrighty,
probably
just
wait to
making
talk
sure.
about the book until I can
Sorry,
see
sorry,
you.
sorry. Yeah, let me. There we go.
Hello.
Hello. I'm gonna be putting makeup on basically for a portion of this because I have to get ready at the same
That's
time
fine.
we record.
I was trying to shove breakfast in my mouth.
Oh, my keyboard has purple on it because we dyed Grace's hair yesterday and we got purple on the keyboard.
You don't usually dye it in the bathroom?
Oops. We usually do, but we got home late, so I just did it in the bedroom while we were here. Her hair is so much easier to do than mine. I just slather it in there because she's got like no hair. So,
I would just be afraid of things like that happening.
I mean, normally it's fine because I just set it down. But what happened is I hit the bottle and I mean, it doesn't spill everywhere because it's just Arctic Fox. So it's just a squeeze thing anyway. So it really didn't make that big of a difference. And I would rather get it on my keyboard than on my white counters on a house I'm trying to sell. That would be so much more difficult to get up. I know. Not my problem.
So when you said,
Anyways.
when you were trying to get on and you told me to speak like a dog and how I barked, all
Yes.
that made me think of was the book that I'm reading right now.
Oh boy.
Not
What?
our book, but the book that I'm reading right now,
Yeah.
which is the newest Gigi Sticks book.
Oh, yeah.
I am here for it. So I am writing it out. I'm going to see where it goes. But right now, in the beginning, I'm only like a quarter of the way in. It is so bully romance right now. It's like heavy hardcore. So that's why I'm only this far because I've slowly been reading it. Angie binged that thing in like 2-3 days, but I've like
She's
been like
been
reading.
binging. She's been binging a lot lately.
Yeah, but
Which
I've
good for
just
her
been
because not for
awesome.
us. Couldn't be
I know.
me.
But I've had that spread out. I've been reading a little bit at a time because it's super bully romance. But the reason why it made me think of that is because he buys her a butt plug tail and cat ears. And he was just about to, and he just got to the part where he's like, man, I really need to buy her orange mittens to go with these.
Nope.
I'm just like,
Look, I will never ever kink shame anybody.
no.
But couldn't be me.
So I feel like we had a
Are we
little
about
bit
to
of,
get an interesting peek into Ariel's brain? I thought you were going to be like, oh, well, and defend it for a second there. Continue.
oh, I've tried anything once. However, it also segued a little bit into the book we read this week because while this man wanted her to be a kitten, the man in this week's book, one of them wanted her to be a horse so he could ride her, which again,
I just,
wild times. Wild times.
Yeah. I am all for trying things once. However, I once had a man ask me to crawl. I am not a sexy person. And it is just awkward. And I will never, ever do it again.
I have bad knees
I do too. And it was on
because
carpet, but like it's not I
I'm
I
working on it.
can't
And
do it.
and those that are kind
Oh,
might
you're
say,
working on it?
well, those that are kind might say, "Oh, you're so young for bad knees because I'm not 80." Thank you for saying that. However,
Age
my
does not matter with the knees.
no, my joints hyperextend and my knees are one of those joints that are an incredibly bad case for me. So my knees, when left to their own devices, literally go backwards. They literally sink back. Like my elbows will go. But so if I have my legs out, I have to force a bend in my knee or it's continuously tearing at stuff. So
I just too many sports have destroyed my knees. So I have terrible knees.
I'm going to tell you why we're here today. We wanted to put a Viking romance on the wheel this cycle. And I don't know, apparently we were feeling in a dark mood. I don't know what happened to our
I
wheel.
don't know what's been
It's
happening lately.
been a wild
It's
ride.
Ariel's brain. That's what's happened.
This is a
You
wild
know what?
ride.
It decided that we needed doom and gloom for the first part of the year because it is already doom and gloom. So why not add to it?
We're just matching the energy here. So we read Ravager this week by Karina Hale. And yes, so it's a Viking dark romance.
Yep.
So I don't want to,
Can I get my complaint out of the way first?
yeah, basically, just a minor one. Well, kind of in the grand scheme of things.
It's so minor, but it's so annoying.
So, okay, I have two things then. So I felt frustrated because the blurb set this up like it was going to be an MMF. That is not what we read this week. We did not read an MMF, just to throw it out there. Feel frustrated sometimes when a blurb sets us up to think we're reading one style or type of book, and then that's not what we get.
Mhm.
Also, the female main character's point of view is in first person, and the male main character's point of view is in third person. Very
It's
weird.
so annoying. I don't
Makes your
understand.
brain hurt.
And like it's just so weird because it kind of when it reads like that in third person after reading in first person, it makes me feel like the dude is like dumb and talks about himself in third person, if that
Or it's
makes
like
sense.
the entire thing is from her view, but we as the reader get some outside perspective that she doesn't know.
But I don't
And
like it like
I
that.
don't like it neither.
I don't like that.
Me either. Or it just tells me that the author might have been afraid to speak as a man, which,
It's fine, but
uh,
like then make the whole thing
right.
make it all in the same perspective.
Mhm.
That's like the big thing. I can't. I was struggling. I was like, it threw me off. I was like, am I dumb? I'm like, maybe it's just this one chapter. It was that.
All the chapters. All the chapters. Okay. So now that we got that housekeeping out of the way, the dedication to this book is for those who think the only thing better than being ravaged by one hot Viking warrior is being ravaged by two hot Viking warriors. And again,
See? And then that
this
makes you
set
think it's
up
gonna be.
the continued assumption that this was an MMF from the blurb.
But to be fair, it didn't in the description it didn't specify that it was MMF, but still.
Oh, wait. Yes, it does. Please hold.
Oh, because I'm saying in the description on Amazon it does not.
Yes, but then we get the content warning.
Okay.
Content warning. Ravager is a dark MFM, erotic romance, with the following potential triggers: non-con, dubcon, violence, gore, assault against the heroine, abuse of power, kidnapping, sexual slavery. I think that is a little minimal of a list for this book,
Also,
but
all
that's
of
my
that
personal
into
opinion.
a 200-page book.
Yeah, a lot happened. So, also, this was apparently previously published under a pen name as a novella, and it did not have an HEA. This was remastered and given an HEA. So it just kind of makes me wonder, huh, what people thought about that version. Just
Probably not
interesting.
enough to,
Keep it.
yeah,
Oh.
I don't
So yeah,
know.
this book starts with our FMC, Shireen, losing her virginity.
In a very nonchalant way, too.
Yep. Just wanted to get it over with,
Yeah.
out of the way. You know. It was with her closest and oldest friend, Mark, and for lack of better terms, seemingly to get it out of the way and done. It wasn't what she thought or hoped it would be, and now Shireen is left with fear, hoping her mother doesn't find out that she isn't pure anymore and can't be married off. They finish getting dressed, and Shireen says she better go, that she needs to make dinner. Mark tells her that they have time to do it again. Shireen tells him she knows, as it only lasted a few minutes.
I know so many people that are like that.
He says he just needs practice.
Baby, practice doesn't help.
I mean, stamina. We can increase
Okay,
stamina.
you can, but there are still fully grown adults out there, and that is as long as they can last every
That's
single
because they
time.
don't try to increase their stamina. Stamina is something that you have to actively work on and increase.
Yep, that's the tea.
She insists that she has to go.
Peace
She
out,
doesn't want
bitch.
to she doesn't want to get in trouble. And he's upset because he was going to ask her to run away with him. But now he's left feeling used and spurned. She reminds him that they are friends and that she is going to be required to marry his brother. Plot twist. But it's not her choice. He basically calls her a whore.
I
But
would
she,
burn the world down. Don't call me a whore, you bitch.
right? But she, no, they had agreed that it was better for it to have been him than his brother to be her first, knowing that that's what was going to
You know,
be her.
she she really is too progressive for her time. This was friends with benefits, okay? Deal with it. The one time, you're fine.
But she leaves feeling like she lost her friend. The next morning, when Shireen woke and went out to use the bathroom, she sees Mark's house on fire and hears battle cries. Viking warriors have quickly been taking over the north of France. Her own father and brothers never returning after going off to battle. They must have arrived. Shireen didn't know what to do. She was just an 18-year-old girl. She's not a soldier. She runs into her house, finding that her mom and sisters must have already run towards the battle. And she grabs her father's old sword off her mother's bedroom wall. By the time she gets down towards the water, the screams have mostly died out. Then she sees a fleet of Viking ships beached on the shore, bodies of peasants strewn all along the road. Then she hears her 14-year-old sister say, Shireen, run! And sees her, clearly dying, crawling on the ground. Shireen drops her sword and runs to her sister, scoops up her bleeding and broken body, and carries her to the edge of the woods when she hears a voice behind them say something in another language. She leans her sister against her as they both look at each other knowingly as they turn around. The Viking, who is missing one of his eyes, plunges his sword through Shireen's sister.
Bro, like what the fuck?
That's how we start this fucking book.
We start with virginity loss and murder of your sister while she's there.
Then another Viking is yelling. the other one, the one that just
Just
stabs, name.
kidding.
He's going, Ross! As,
Literally, Ross.
yeah, as, well, yours cut out, so
Sorry.
the
It's
first
because
time
I
does it.
ate the mic. I was like, Rah! I got too
Uh,
close.
as the newcomer picks up Green's father's fallen sword and heads towards them. As this, Ross shrugs and runs off. The new man looks at Shireen and her sister's lifeless body and tells Shireen to go, run. Shireen's confused. He tells her urgently again, run, now,
Run, you dumb bitch.
as another Viking calls to him, calling him Eric, making his way over to see what's going on. Shireen is still frozen. Like, there's so much just happened. Her sister was just killed in front of her.
Honestly,
She's
real.
frozen.
I would feel the same way. I get it.
So this Eric takes the butt of the sword and brings it down onto Shireen's head.
Good night.
E- yeah. Eric had panicked at Rolf coming. What a fucking name. Rolf.
Either Rolf or Ralph. Well, I would call him Ralph. Just kidding, it's Rolf. I just want to call him Ralph.
Ralph?
Not like Wreck It Ralph, but
I
I
mean, he liked to wreck it, Ralph.
hate everything.
Eric tells Rolf how Ross killed the girl. Rolf says, but this one's still alive, as he bends down to inspect her rather crudely. Eric tells them that she is Eric's, that the rest of the men have horse. It's only fair that he gets his own.
Because didn't he accuse him of, well, you're finally taking a wife? And he goes, no, a whore. Like, what the fuck? Okay.
This whole fucking thing was wild. I don't even know.
Okay, sir. Crazy.
Hmm. But then Rolf says that's fine. But when Rolf gets bored, Eric will have to share. And once Rolf has her, she becomes his.
That does not
And
make any
I
sense.
and Rolf can dispose of her any way he chooses.
Which is insane. I understand, like, not really. I don't understand.
I
Then
was like, where are you going with that?
nowhere.
Eric says, of course, as Rolf is their leader, and he must defer to him. Rolf tells Eric to grab her, and then he takes off to continue the takeover. Eric is feeling major regret. She should have just freaking run, darn it. And he can't leave her now to perish in the fire. What? What did I do? Ran?
She should have just ran, darn it.
But that's what he's thinking.
I know,
Freaking.
but instead of damn it, you said darn it. I just don't know why it was so funny.
Okay.
I don't know.
She's snorting over this.
I don't know why it's so funny that you said darn it instead of damn it. It was just really funny. It was the in real life censorship of your language, and it was just funny. I got nothing. Okay, I'm done.
I don't know. So darn it. I
I
don't
don't know. It's not as funny as I think it is.
know. He picks her up to follow after Rolf. Shireen wakes in a room as a drunk Viking is coming through the door. Eric is close behind him, pushing the drunk out. Shireen takes this opportunity to take the blanket that she was under, lunge at Eric, and wrap it around his head, making Eric drop the torch he had to free himself. Shireen catches it. Eric tells her he saved her. Shireen shoves the torch into Eric's torso. He snatches it, trying to put the flames out, and ultimately ripping his shirt off to stomp on it. Eric grabs a knife from his belt and holds it in his teeth as he whips off his belt, causing his kilt to fall, and grabs her and secures her hands with the belt, telling her he's not her enemy. He tells her there's food on the table for her and a bucket in the corner, and then he leaves, still naked, locking the door behind him. The Vikings took over the Lord's Manor. It had been the dungeons that Shireen woke up in, and there they stayed for the next week. But the men are getting restless, so Rolf plans to move on in a few days to head for the next holding. This one's at Barron's. Rolf tells Eric that he can have the girl for a month, and then she's Rolf's. He plans to make her his French bride to send people a message. He wants Eric to make sure she's good and broken in. Eric finally gets Shireen to drink water and eat, too weak to put up a fight, as she hasn't eaten in a week, barely drank anything, which I feel like should have killed her. But I'm not an expert, especially in that time. But I mean, time doesn't exist sometimes in books, I guess. Whatever. So he puts her in a tub of warm water and starts to bathe her. She wants to know why he's doing all of this, why he's bothering. He tells her Rolf wants her safe, that they will be traveling soon. She points out that he isn't taking advantage of her. Eric says, not yet.
Gross. Also, bitch, keep your mouth shut.
Right? Like, he gets her out of the tub and gives her a new dress to wear and tells her to eat more.
Like Ariel is doing. That is words to
Hmm.
live by. Eat more.
Yeah. Eric returns to the dungeon. Shireen is ready for him and tries to bolt. But Eric was ready too and catches her with a rope he uses to gag her and tie her to a chair. Eric starts his plan to have Shireen warm to him sexually. With her bound and gagged, he spreads her legs, lifting her skirts, and goes down on her until she comes, mystifying her. And then he
Well,
masturbates in front of her before he frees her.
listen, okay, her experience was the 3 second fuck she had that she definitely didn't come from.
Right.
It would mystify me too.
Right. He tells her that he told her that he wouldn't hurt her. She says because he can't, that she's already lost everything. Eric says then she has everything to gain. He will be there for her the whole trip to St. Martin. Eric leads Shireen out of the dungeons, and his demeanor instantly hardens. He's a wall as she's led out to the eyes of at least 20 Vikings, staring, leering at her,
Ew.
making clearly suggestive comments in Norse until the largest man she's ever seen appears. It's kind of like he's a brick house. Gives new meaning.
Oh God.
Rolf makes his way to her and introduces himself, telling her why he's called Rolf the Walker. Apparently, this man is too giant to ride regular horses. So until he found this like gigantic horse or like this specific breed of horse, he can't ride a horse. So he's walked everywhere. So they call him Rolf the Walker.
So he
Fucking
doesn't ride a
stupid
horse,
ass
he
story.
rides cowboys.
Right. I thought that okay. I thought that that is where this was going for a good portion of this.
I mean,
Especially like I thought he was like actually interested in Eric the whole time. That was how suggestive it was. But no, it went in a whole different direction.
didn't go in the direction we wanted. No sword crossing.
It was I thought it was
To be
leading there.
to be honest though, because in the content it says MFM, and typically that's no sword
I
crossies.
know.
But you were hoping.
It
Yes.
wasn't even that
I'm
I was hoping, it was that the
the
suggestive
suggestion,
hints
yeah.
were that he like secretly pined for Eric.
I'm not entirely unconvinced that he was not. It's the time.
He asks her if she would break if he rode her.
Maybe.
She's obviously not impressed. Rolf calls
Okay.
to his men to head out. Eric puts Shireen in front of him on his horse. They ride through the day and set up for camp for the night. Eric asks Shireen about her life before, if she was with anyone. She explains about the brothers, having to marry within the land and all that. They're very slim pickings. So her family was marrying to the one, but she slept with the other, blah, blah, blah. We know that. In the night, they're woken by a drunk Ross petting her leg.
No, thank you.
Eric tells him to freaking go away. It probably won't be long until Ross dies, I'm assuming at this point is my prediction. I was like,
I
this
mean,
book I was like, this book is not going to allow him to live, is where I was at with
she touched her and he touched her. My woman. Just kidding.
In the morning, Rolf and Eric talk strategy. Rolf is really saddened by Eric's behavior as of late. Eric isn't killing ruthlessly or seeming to find the joy in murdering anymore. Just murdering and pillaging women and children and families. And
God damn it.
I know.
She's made you
Eric,
soft.
no, he's saying
I know,
before
no,
he
no,
was
no, I
angry.
know, I know.
Eric says that civility is okay too.
A man who
And
thinks civility is okay? What?
when they're done talking, Eric introduces Shireen to Nut, the young Viking he trusts to stay with her and keep her safe during the battle.
Just keep the nut out of her.
He puts her in a storage cart so they can journey the rest of the way and go in swinging. And they do. Shireen and Nut are left to hear the battle sounds. The screaming lasts for far longer than her village, though. And Shireen starts to worry. First, about all the death, then, what would happen to her if Eric was one of them. He's the only one that's been standing between her and the rest of the Vikings. And then she actually starts to worry about him himself. It's a whole
Ew.
awful
Worry about
spiral.
a man? Sorry.
She can't help it. She runs off down the road into the battle. Bodies are everywhere.
Because that's the rational thing to do.
Right. Nut is chasing after her. They find Eric wounded and knocked out, which I guess it's maybe a good thing they went and found him because, geez,
I
they
guess,
get him
but
in.
still,
Still,
girl.
they get him into an apothecary building to stitch him up. Nut running to fetch Rolf. Shireen tells him if he leaves her, she really will have nothing. Eric promises he won't leave her. Rolf comes and makes a crack about Shireen doubling as a nurse. He also gave me the vibe that he was like shocked that Eric was alive, which gave me the vibe that I wondered if Rolf had a hand in knocking him out because Eric said he just got hit on the head from behind,
Well, I
which
mean, he's
if
weak,
it had been
so
right, but if it had been an enemy, wouldn't they have just killed him
come
or
from the
stabbed
front.
him?
Yeah. Yeah, usually hits from the behind are usually by people you know,
Right.
because everyone will stab you in the back. Sorry. Except for you, you're great. I don't have trauma from people stabbing me back at all. Listen, as Taylor Swift once said, all of my enemies started out friends.
But you know, yeah. I guess if
A
they're
good
actually
amount of my
enemies.
enemies have started
Yeah.
out as friends,
I guess if
so
they're actively enemies, because if you care that much, yeah, there's a fine line and all that.
it is a great line.
Also in that way. I
Oh
meant
yeah,
like there's a
sorry.
fine line between love and
Listen,
hate.
it is morning and I'm almost fully done my coffee. This we cannot. No.
Rolf tells Eric that they took the manor and have the Baron in the dungeon. That he thought Eric would approve of that civility, especially since they only cut off one thumb. In the middle of the night, Shireen sneaks out of her given room at the manor, even though Nut was stationed at the door to guard.
I can't with his name.
It will never not be funny. She runs to Eric's room and finds him bathing. He tells her he had hoped she would come, that he could use some help. She takes the turn bathing him, this time until Eric kisses her. She leans into it until she falls into the bath with him. Shireen pulls her now wet night.
Sorry. It's falling.
Shireen pulls her now wet night dress off and straddles him. Eric grabs her and lifts her out of the tub, setting her body on the floor by the fire, covering her with his. He fingers her and then lines himself up and fucks her. She realizes, as she's enjoying this all too much, that it makes her happy. And she doesn't think that she actually has ever been happy in her life before. Her family sucked. Like, her mom was really awful. Her sisters were awful, except for the 14-year-old, but she kind of kept her distance because the mom was really bad to her. And like, she was really poor and she was just supposed to be married off to this awful man. And it wasn't great. And even though, like, and then everyone just got slaughtered in front of her and she got kidnapped. And she's like, this is just,
Maybe the slaughtering was probably the best part of her family. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I think it was more not the sister that got stabbed in front of her. That was awful. But I think it was
Well, yeah.
that she thinks it was more
Honestly,
traumatic.
she got a fresh start out of the whole
Right.
deal,
But
kind
she
of.
she almost thinks it was more traumatic, the whole thing, like the pillaging and the fact that they came and the actions versus actually losing her mom and her other sister. In the morning, they're woken up by Rolf walking into the room and finding them in Eric's bed. Rolf is not pleased and says that she's supposed to fuck him, that she doesn't have to sleep with him. Shireen tells him,
Someone is a little jealous.
right? Shireen tells him she slept with Eric because she likes him. Rolf says fine,
Ooh, sorry.
right? Rolf says fine and demands Eric stand up and stand next to him. Rolf tells Shireen that they will see just how useful she is and tells her to suck Eric's dick. Impress him. This whole scene gave me he wanted Eric vibes. That's where that came from. Like that
Well,
whole scene.
yeah, he wants to see how she sucks a dick so that he knows how he likes it.
Well, like he like
Sorry.
walked her through like touching his balls,
Okay,
touching
so
like
then maybe he knows how he likes it.
I
And he's
know, but
being a cuck.
it was just the
Sorry.
whole way. I was just like, I wouldn't be surprised if the twist turned out to be him wanting Eric.
Well,
That's
the
where I was at.
surprise is he is a cuck. Where's the cuck chair? Sorry. So done.
She hesitates too long that Eric worries what Rolf will do.
Well, if she hesitates too much, maybe Rolf will go down on him instead of be like, I'll show you
Right?
how it's done.
I think
Sorry.
he was more worried about,
I know.
yeah,
He is living in
Eric
denial.
worries what Rolf will do. Yes.
Well, Eric's
So,
living in denial, and Rolf is living in I want you. Put
yeah.
your dick in my
So,
mouth world.
so Eric grabs her, brings her to him down onto her knees, holding her head. It doesn't take Eric long with her mouth on him, especially with her playing with his balls.
Another
Then,
boom boom. Just kidding. Apparently, I just really fucking hate men today.
I mean, I kind of hate it men every day, most of the time.
Fair.
I had to kind of defend a man yesterday and it made me feel icky.
Ew, why?
I know. I'll tell you later. Then Rolf says Eric can't have all the fun. And then he kisses Shireen, saying he wants to know what Eric tastes like.
See? So he likes Eric.
That's what I'm saying this whole scene. Rolf tells Shireen he wants her in his chambers after dinner to have Eric bring her. Shireen spends the day in her room, and soon enough, it's time for dinner. They all dine with another Viking friend who brings word of other battles and things going on with the king. And then it's time for reluctant Eric to escort Shireen to Rolf's room. He answers the knock and they go in, Rolf telling Eric to close the door, that this time he can stay. Rolf tells Shireen to disrobe and make it a show. Then he tells her to get on the bed. He follows and kisses her. Then Rolf discards his own clothing. He flips Shireen onto all fours and then starts to finger her. And then he slams his giant fucking dick into her in one go.
This would be the perfect time to include Eric.
He fucks her hard and painfully,
Yeah, it's
finally finding
unfortunate.
her clit and playing with her back door to ease the pain until she finishes. Rolf lays on his back, pulls her on top of him with her head against his chest. Rolf tells Eric to disrobe and for Eric to put Rolf's dick back in her. He wanted Rolf to touch his dick. I'm just saying, like,
Naked.
right. He wanted to get him naked and then touch his dick. So I see vibes. Then he has Eric.
I see what you're throwing down.
Then he has Eric lick her clit while Rolf fucks her from underneath. Almost immediately after finishing, Rolf has them both get dressed and has Eric escort Shireen back to her room, calling after Eric, telling him to keep his hands off her now that Rolf's had her. That Eric got to break her in, but Rolf will take it from here.
Excuse me, sir. No.
At her door, Shireen wants to know what the fuck.
I mean, yeah, please, what the fuck?
Like, Eric only slept with her for Rolf? And not only that, but he's going to let Rolf have her?
Bitch,
He
no,
tells
I am not property.
he
You need to
tells her
stop
to go.
reading books that women are property in.
He tells her to go in the room. She's basically like, or what? He pushes her in and kisses her. She says, but what if he catches them?
The eye
Ulks,
roll.
Eric says that he won't because it's just for the night and it won't be again. And then Eric fucks her against the door. She asks him to stay after, but he says that she knows he can't. The next evening, Eric is instructed to escort Shireen to Rolf's room again. This time, Rolf fucks her while he has Eric take her ass. Just like that. The next day, Rolf
We're getting
knocks on
closer and
Shireen's.
closer
Shireen. I know.
to Rolf taking him in the ass. Sorry.
The next day, Rolf knocks on Shireen's door and asks her to go for a ride with him. Have them get to know one another. They get on horses with a packed, because they found one big enough for him, with a packed lunch and set out. The bodies still haven't been taken care of, so that's fun. Shireen asks questions of Rolf's plans. Rolf tells her he plans to stay at this manor until the King of France requests a meeting. Apparently, as their Viking friend had told them, the king has been offering some of the Vikings titles and to keep their claimed land if they settle and don't keep going from place to place. They ride on until they find a stream and set up their picnic. Rolf tells her how violent Eric is and that he just couldn't allow her in Eric's care any longer. So she wouldn't be harmed. How Eric is insanely jealous. Frankly, he feared for her life.
I feel like
He
someone
ho-
is projecting.
the gaslighting is strong with this one.
I think the man doth protest too much.
Like, which tells me he's totally aware of his own situation if he just like is like, no, but it's him.
Sure, sure, Jan.
He hopes her to be the Duchess to his Duke. She asks if he's ever been married. He says he was, and he had a son, but they're both dead now.
Did he
She
kill them?
apologizes. Of course not. He's not the bad guy, remember? Eric is.
Did Eric steal your wife?
I'm actually surprised he didn't go that far and went, Eric actually killed them.
Listen, Eric took them because he wanted them for his own.
Yes. She apologizes. He says he hopes that she doesn't find him repulsive and that she could want to be with him. She says she would be honored to be his duchess, and he kisses her. He tells her, well, because she's like, well, what kind of choice do I have over here? And she was a peasant before. She's like, oh, the duchess sounds great. He kisses her. He tells her to strip naked and get on all fours. He grabs the rope from the picnic basket and puts part of it in her mouth, telling her to bite down, pulling the ends back tight like reins, saying he's going to ride her. She's still sore from the night before, so it's not great when he fucking just shoves his dick into her and yanks her mouth with the rope.
He really does not. He does not understand the word foreplay at all.
And he doesn't care. He just pleasures himself
No,
while she thinks it takes too long while she's in pain.
I've met those people too.
Yeah. Mhm. 3 weeks later, Eric had not been able to talk to Shireen once. Rolf kept her glued to his side, and though she smiled, her smile seemed fake to Eric. Eric, meanwhile,
Probably just like all those orgasms she's getting.
she's not.
Sorry.
That's the problem.
I know.
Eric, meanwhile, had been finalizing his plans to leave and go home to Norway. Eric, Nut, and another Viking named
I just
Karst
can't with this name. Goddamn.
wanted out to go home, and they planned to leave in 3 days' time. Shireen has not, in fact, been happy at all. She even walks in on Rolf fucking one of the cooks, and he says, what? Haven't seen two people fucking before? And he pulls the girl up in front of Shireen, saying he had no idea she was the jealous type. Now she knows how he felt watching her with Eric. She says that Rolf
I,
ordered Eric to
I like this man.
pick a fucking lane, buddy.
God.
Rolf says Eric wanted her all to himself, but Eric,
Okay.
but everyone knows Rolf owns everything anyone else has. He's the leader, don't you know? He says she will do anything for him and he will do anything for her as he takes out a knife and stabs it into the woman's chest. He says the whore is gone. Satisfied now?
Like, no.
Shireen runs out of the room with Rolf calling after her, saying to be sure to be at dinner. Shireen runs out of the manor and practically runs into Eric, who consoles her and asks what happened. She asks to go for a ride and he takes her. She tells him how Rolf said Eric wanted her for himself. Eric says that that's true. They enjoy their time choosing random topics that aren't as serious just to be able to talk with each other and keep her distracted. That is, till they see a deer, and Shireen comments on how free it is, how she wants that, and she jumps down and runs. Eric catches her. She
We
says she
run.
doesn't want to
Sorry.
belong to Rolf. Eric asks, isn't being a duchess better than being dead? She asks, what about love? She leans in and kisses Eric, telling him to tell her he still wants her and that he loves her. He does. She begs for him to tell her another path and she will follow it. He says she deserves to be a duchess. He'll be there for her as long as he can, which he knows is 2 days. Eric returns her to the manor.
Sorry.
At dinner that 2 days. At, at dinner that night, a drunken Rolf accuses Shireen of making wanting eyes at Eric. Says she wouldn't look at him that way if he had a scar like Rolf did. And then he takes his knife and slashes it down Eric's face. Rolf punches Shireen hard to get her to stop screaming, but that only makes her start to black out. And that only angers Rolf more because she can't witness what's going on. He grabs her by the hair and starts to drag her when Eric tackles Rolf and wrestles him to the ground. But Rolf, remember, is a massive fucking beast and pretty unstable. So he isn't able to be kept down. He grabs the dagger off the table and shoves it through Eric's shoulder, pinning him to the wall. Rolf grabs Shireen and calls to his men, saying if she's going to think like a whore, then they will treat her like one. Shireen begs Rolf, please. Like, I know there's something, there's good in there. He tells her
Sure.
that the last woman he loved angered him, and he slit her throat and their kids' throat. And then he walks out, leaving her to the leering Vikings, who start to grab at her. And then an axe flies and a head rolls. The axe starts lopping off heads. It's Eric and Nut with a sword and some other guy she doesn't remember the name of, but it's that cursed guy.
Yeah.
Men are beheaded left and right, turning the dining hall into a bloodbath. Eric yells to Nut, and Nut scoops Shireen up and starts running. She asks where they're going. He says, Norway. Rolf comes upon the scene once the men that haven't fled are all headless. Because, most of them started running when things start swinging. Rolf accuses Eric of turning on him. Eric says it was Rolf that stabbed him. Rolf says, but not in the back. No, you just hit him in the back, like a while back. He says he was practically like Eric's father. Eric points out that they all know what Rolf does to his children. Rolf says Eric thinks he's better than him, but he can't take back the lives he's taken over the years. That he can't escape who he is. Eric says he can try. Rolf says he can't try if he's dead and lunges at Eric with his sword. Eric was ready and had already started swinging the axe, chopping Rolf's arm, stopping the sword. Rolf falls to his knees in pain and betrayal as Eric leaves. He meets Shireen and the men outside at the waiting cart. They ride to the ships, only stopping for a short sleep. When they get there, Eric explains to the skeleton crew left behind to guard the ships that Eric is being sent back home to Norway early to get married. And they don't argue with the second in command. They take the smallest ship and 5 extra men, leaving just 2 behind to guard. 3 weeks into their sea journey, Eric asks Shireen to make it true. She says yes. They make it back to Eric's small town and are greeted by Eric's mother. The town is ecstatic at the return of the small ship. Vikings don't always really make it back, and it's a very big deal when they do. A month later, Shireen shares the news that she's pregnant. They get married. Somewhere off page. Sometime later, they finally get an appearance from one of the Viking crew. Ross catches them off guard while on a walk, stabbing Eric in the chest. Shireen grabbing Eric's sword from his waist and jabbing it into Ross's throat. See, Ross is finally dead. The town came out to help get Eric home. The healers saying his wound is deep, but they're hopeful because he's not already dead. So that means it missed the heart. But there's a whole bunch of other shit there, right? Like lungs and shit, and this is olden times. That's probably why this was not a happily ever after last time, because it's not possible to survive that. But you do you. You do you, boo. Then we have an epilogue. A year later, Shireen had a son, Leaf, who is now 6 months old and thankfully looks like Eric, because who the fuck knew whose baby that was? We weren't. I don't know if they were worried, but I was worried. And Eric's fine, by the way. That's our story.
What a wild ride that was.
I don't
Ah,
even know what to I don't I'm having trouble comprehending even what I just read.
I mean,
It was a ride.
it was a ride, that's for sure. Oh man,
Who was your least favorite character?
Rolf. Like, bruh, come on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's your favorite?
I mean, Eric was fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you should have never let Rolf have her. So no.
No. I don't know.
Maybe Nut.
Just for his name.
All the other Vikings were like barbaric, but he was like just chill.
His name
And
is Nut. Okay. He has to be chill. His name is Nut. Be like, would you like a little nut in your mouth?
I'm gonna
Not the
nut
time.
in you.
Oh my God. Yeah. 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 Good Lord. So Amazon gives us a 3.8 and Goodreads a 3.4. Where are you
I
at?
struggled a lot. Did you?
I struggled.
I ended up settling on a 2.5 for
I literally
myself.
was gonna say the same thing.
Listen, when we said Viking romance, I honestly thought we were going to be on a ship the whole time. We were not. I was sad.
Didn't
I
expect
did
that
not
part, but I was not
expect
expecting.
I didn't expect this whole dynamic between the two. I didn't expect it to just be this weird. It felt very it didn't read novel or novella-y. It read like one of those stories you read online.
Yes, like a Wattpad,
Yeah, it
Wattpad.
read something like you were just reading it for the experience of like, oh, I want to just read this because I want to like have this quick thing of watch like having somebody vow with somebody kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. No,
That's how it
yeah.
read to me, and I'm just not really there for that.
Yeah, it was. I didn't like the switch was really
Oh,
fucking
that was
annoying.
awful. Yeah.
That was probably what took me out the most, and definitely is what really, really. And it's so funny because like in the description of this, it says that it like is like hooked, and I'm like, it's not. Hooked is so good. Like Hooked is a really good book. Read Hooked by Emily McIntyre, everybody. It's fabulous. So, anyways, so I just I've never read Vikings Valhalla either, so I don't know how that is, but I feel
Well,
like
I'm wondering if Hooked is really good, and this is really not. If the Vikings Valhalla is that bad, if
I
it had to
maybe
meet
I'll
in the
have to,
middle,
here's the thing though, but
if it had
what
to
if
meet
I
in the
read
middle.
Vikings Valhalla and if anyone's read it, let us know. And it was good, and then like I don't understand. I didn't like the whole it felt like it should have been they were all like in it to, like the two of them were in it together, not like this weird
I know. I thought like she was going to like get him to make it turn over a new leaf or something. I don't know.
or even just have the two men fuck. Like I don't.
Or like, and kill her off. I don't know, just something.
Kill her off, and they
Go
get
back
their
to there.
happy ever after. Okay.
Right. It's just, it was weird.
Yeah, it was strange. I just yeah, that was rough for
It
me.
was
So, I
all
mean, yeah.
weird.
How about the pepper scale, my dear?
Oh, God.
Just
Hmm.
based on our own disappointment.
The disappointment has to count, you know,
It does actually. We can do whatever we want.
because it, I'm going to say it falls on a Serrano, but it's an old Serrano because it's not very
It's an
good.
old Serrano. It's like one of the Serranos that is like right on its like you have to eat it this day or it's bad the next day.
Right. And
It's like
it
just
doesn't
on the
taste that great. But you have to eat it
it's kind of
because it
losing
would
the
go to
flavor.
waste. Right. It would
Yeah,
go
and you
to
don't want to
waste if you didn't.
waste it.
Right. Yeah.
It'll go to waste like all her orgasms that she
She didn't
didn't
have
have.
very many because oh, only with Eric.
Oh, good Lord.
Um,
Oh, goodness gracious.
survivability.
Uh,
I feel like I would be
I,
dead.
I'd be fine, but I wouldn't be happy about it.
I feel like I would be dead. I would be.
Uh,
I have a mouth. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'm kind of mouthy.
I am too, so maybe I would also be dead. We would be dead. So, and we need to spin a wheel to figure out what we're reading next.
Yeah. Close out March. Good Lord.
God, March flew by so fast. The fuck
Well, not
happened?
only that, but I mean, all the things that have, all the murder and mermaids that happened in March.
God, so what
Is
are we
are we
gonna?
are we going to continue on the path of murder, or are we going to get a glimpse into what April might look like to us?
Oh God, who the fuck knows? All right, so let me bring up the wheel and we can do this. One moment. Are you ready?
Right.
Let's figure it out. What do we got? Bad Fucking Timing by Michelle. And it's
Michelle
a
Lenard.
MM. It's an MM hockey
Oh
romance.
yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So, are you ready? Bad Fucking Timing, a steamy MM hockey romance by Michelle Lenard. The ice is my sanctuary, my happy place. It's also why I'm living a lie. Ever have a lifelong dream that's within reach only to have a different one take you by surprise? Absolutely. That's what happened when I got drafted to the Colorado Bulldogs hockey team. After years of grueling practices, boarding schools, and denying who I am off the ice, my sacrifices were about to pay off. Enter Xander Nidek. Dark and brooding with a side dish of comic nerd, aka my kryptonite, also mine. Our chance encounter was supposed to be a one time thing. Then I ran into him again and again. And the third time may have been planned, but only because I can't stop thinking about him. I'm the top rookie in the NHL draft at the start of what's expected to be a promising career. Staying in the closet should be a no brainer. But if I'm in, Xander's out of my life. Now I'm wondering if glory on the ice is worth losing a lifetime of happiness with the one person I'm not supposed to fall for my coach's son.
Oh yeah, that's this one.
Gretzky takes on the Grump in this forbidden MM romance featuring a hockey prodigy and a brooding skateboarder who try to be just friends amid driving lessons, nosy friends, and sword crossing, literally. That blurs the lines. So join us next week as we go into an MM hockey romance and we're getting out of murder.
Well, it's because we should have gotten an MM out of this book, so they're giving it
And we
to us
didn't.
next week. The wheel is just
Yay!
wheeling like it does.
Yes.
I feel like that guy from the mermaid book who's just seeing signs and everything when I'm always thinking the wheel is telling us things.
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah, join us next week as we read our MM book and make sure to keep reading.
And keep it smutty.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.